Tonight on Ship Chasing, we try to capture lightning in a bottle for the second time. Last year, Mike Leone came on these airwaves. The show got too late for him, and he said, hey, I got to get one of my training runs in. And so what did he do? He went out for a run while we drafted, and I said, you know what, Mike? I'm going to join you for that tonight. We're going to give it a shot. Again, it's raining out here by me. We'll see how my phone holds up, how the reception holds up. But we are going to talk some best ball with Mike Leone, and then we are going to hop into a draft, and Mike and I are going to hit the road. Let's see how it goes.
Pat Fryer Helmo.
This is why I'm hot.
Anita Handjob.
Fix your sight.
Jamar. Alpha play chase.
Are you kidding me? Kadarius Toney?
You can't handle the heat.
It looks like we're finally at this point. You're right.
All right. Ben Gretsch, Pat Carrain, Michael Leone. How are we doing tonight, fellas?
Good. Excited to be back talking with you guys. It's been a little bit.
I know how it feels like we have you on fairly regularly, but I don't know. Time's flying. I mean, was it just at the beginning of draft season when you were last on?
I think so. Right?
Like right after the manifesto, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I missed that one. It was a couple months ago, right?
God, I don't even know if that was before the NFL draft or what. I don't even remember.
I'm 53 BBM drafts deep now. And so it's just like, it does seem like we've already lived a lifetime. Gretch, you said you just actually recently got to dive into the manifesto now that you're a UD bro.
Yeah, famously not UD bro prior. I had gone into it and read through it and looked at it a little bit, but it's so involved that not being somebody who was actually drafting a lot of these best ball teams, I didn't read it closely. But yeah, I've recently been reading it really closely, and I'm like, it's really good shit. I mean, good work, Leone. And
Thank you.
All the stacking stuff is like, I'm doing a bunch of these slows and I'm finishing them up, and I'm just like super excited to apply it. Like, I thought all the information on optimal amounts of players in stacks, the 2 QB, 3 QB discussion, found all that stuff to be very fascinating. So anyway, anyone hasn't checked it out, it's all free over at Established Throne. Great stuff. You
got to be careful though, Gretch, because you'll get whiplash. Like I get whiplash reading the manifesto and then doing a draft with Sean, and I got like this ADP value in my head, and Sean's like, fuck it, we're reaching 45 ADP to draft the guy. I'm like, all right. But it is super fun to start to blend all of those elements and trying to accomplish all those little micro edges outlined in there while also getting your guys and staying on target. But it is a fun dichotomy. And the comments on the show's been doing with all of you guys is hilarious. Everyone really loves the different perspectives because they are coming at it from completely different angles.
And like the thing on ADP value is it's the best proxy we have for like objective rankings of the players. But if you legitimately had better rankings, like, Siegel value might be more predictive than ADP value. You know what I mean? So, but it is fun. And it's
right. If we knew the scores, we wouldn't worry about ADP value. We would just take the guys.
Or if you're just like, if you're better than the market at predicting players, you'd obviously have some blend, which is like what we're trying to do at ETR. And Siegel, pushes a little bit more towards his own ranks, whereas like I'm weighting ADP more. But the point is that like you shouldn't only be drafting ADP value.
This is the stuff that, as I was reading through the manifesto in depth, it's obviously incredibly good, detailed, incredibly well sourced. I love the way you write because you're like, there are caveats here, and it's like very easy to follow what you're willing to actually take a stand on, but what there's stuff, where there's stuff that's like open to interpretation. But on all of the different layers and all the different things, and it's been a big discussion this offseason in best ball. There was the pyramid that you guys over at ETR, like I think Herzig made it at ETR or whatever, like all the things to think about. But for each of those, it's like, this is the correct way to do it, or the way that you would want to do it. But also the draft itself is going to drive you a certain direction, and you have to be willing to like think outside the box a little bit about where can you go off? Because like to do a perfectly idealistic draft that does exactly what the manifesto says is not going to happen very often.
Yeah, for sure. I'm team flexibility all the way. Pat's written about the flexibility with stacking. The go ahead and snipe me, bro article. And you've got to be flexible. Also, like, it's a real balancing act with something like the manifesto, like getting a large enough sample, but like also being specific enough that it's actually telling us something. So there's a lot of stuff with like player archetypes and specific players that's like going to totally change things. Like with stacking is the easiest one. If you're taking Justin Fields or whatever, that's going to completely switch. The one thing I've found interesting thinking about it and like the impact of stacking in that article is I've talked about it a little bit before, but it does seem to me that I think like it's almost more valuable than in DFS with the best ball scoring and not having to use the correlated players. I know you guys have talked about it some, but I haven't like actually like simulated anything to like prove this as true, but I definitely think there's something there where like having the correlation as an option, but not having to use those players actually makes the correlation more important than you'd expect.
Meaning, like you could have
what do you mean by that?
pieces, like you could overstack it 3 or 4 players, but you don't actually have to use all 4.
Like if you're double stacking, Burrow with Chase and Higgins in DFS, and Chase has the alpha game, and then Higgins is like kind of shitty, right? Like you're probably going to lose to some single stacks that are Burrow and Chase, right? But if you're in best ball, you don't have to use T Higgins' score that week, And
you might use T Higgins' score the week before.
The next week,
yeah.
The distribution weekly.
So like you get the optionality of using the correlation if Burrow goes off and maybe both receivers go nuts, but like you don't have to use it because you've got other wide receivers that can play in that spot. And same thing with game stacking. Like sometimes I know some of the sharp players in DFS actually think like game stacking at certain points in certain contests is actually like overdone by the field. But like you have to use those players' scores. Like there's definitely, I think the optionality aspect of it probably changes.
Yeah. You can be like directionally accurate is really what it is that you need that game to go off, but you have multiple outs for like picking exactly. You don't have to be perfect in predicting exactly how the game will go off. You can have guys from those games, and you need enough of them to hit your lineup. But yeah, I mean, I think we'd play DFS differently if we had 18 roster spots in DFS.
Yeah, you'd build like a lot of game stacks, right? Like, and even you'd correlate, you wouldn't have to pick the players exactly right. And
yeah,
I mean, there'd be.
Leone, I got a question for you. I've been floating this theories, and like I have all these theories that might be completely wrong, but since I'm just starting to hammer a bunch of my own drafts, I'm like, I got all these ideas I want to talk about. And I floated this a couple times on shows last week, I think on ship chasing and on ADP chasing maybe, but this idea that with like the correlation and the stacking and how you're kind of reducing things you want to get right, that I don't necessarily like the ones that are really pricey stacks. And I like the Eagles one that people are doing where they're taking AJ Brown in the top 5 so they can get Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts at the 2-3 turn and get all 3 of them as their first 3 picks, and how that boxes you out of any other players in the top 45. Or like the other one is obviously the Chase Higgins and then Burrow in the 4th. It's 3 of your first 4 picks, or maybe you get Burrow in the 5th if he comes around. But like, it's still a lot in the Bengals. My theory has been like I kind of almost want to be unstacked or uncorrelated in my first 3-4 rounds because that's where you have a lot of really good players, and a lot of them don't even necessarily need games to blow up to score well. Like Cooper Kupp was an example we used. He can have a huge game even if there's not a huge blow up game in week 17. But in DFS, like we talk about this with the premium stacks, like when you have Mahomes, I think of Mahomes, Tyreek, and Kelsey back when Tyreek was there, and you had to pay so much of your cap to do that stack, and how hard it was to actually play that double, and even fill out a viable lineup. Do you think there's anything to this that like we should almost, and especially as the tournaments are huge, we should almost want to be parlaying uncorrelated outcomes? Because there's a differentiation element to just having random players that aren't correlated in the first 3-4 rounds, but then like limiting the things we have to get right later with our stacks, with like cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like, it's one of those ones that's pretty difficult to parse. I've gone both ways on it. Like, I've done the Chase, Higgins, Burrow when they've been at the top of my board, but like without intentionally kind of going for it. I think the difference from DFS is on a week-to-week basis, like the first 14 weeks to advance, you don't have to be perfect. So there can be a better, round 2 wide receiver than Higgins, like in your Chase Higgins example. And you still built a team that's like reducing things you have to get right in terms of like the Bengals passing offense is just great. And you're still probably going to advance. in that circumstance. And then when you get to the playoffs, you get some of that stacking optionality that we talked about, where you can use the double stack, but you don't necessarily have to. But there's certainly, I asked like really early in the draft season, I asked Pete and Pat in our Discord chat. I had taken Tyreek in the first round, and I was like, between Waddle and a summer wide receiver, I'm like, do I stack Miami, or do I kind of just hope that I get like the double alpha seasons by taking, I think at that point in time, Amon-Ra was going a little bit later. I was like, or do I just go Amon-Ra over Waddle? And I think Pat and Pete each gave me a different answer. So
Yeah.
It's complicated.
I wanted the stack. For me, it comes down, I think how big the final round is matters a lot.
Right.
The bigger the final round, the more I would lean towards what you're saying, Ben, where I would want to have uncorrelated pieces up top. Hope those are the guys you need in the final. They're each smashing.
Most of my drafts are BBM or Puppy, so that's what I was kind of coming at it from. Is like these are huge tournaments.
I think you can do both in that. I think the final round, especially in the Puppy, but even in BBM, like I don't know. I don't think you need to be perfect.
Not that big.
It's not that big. Yeah, it's under 500 people. Like it's a small field DFS tournament basically. So if you happen to, like, if Jalen Hurts has a monster week in, week 15 or 16, and then again in week 17, like I think you're as long as you can get that team through, like you're gonna be pretty happy you built with those three guys.
But the way I'm coming at it is more like, I mean, maybe it can be just that like the Bengals are so valuable that they're all league winners, those three. But it's like there's gonna be league winners in the top 50 picks. Like that's why we're pretty good about.
But it's week winners is really what it comes down to. It's
so I
who
wasn't
wins.
About it I think weekly is easier to say like any roster. I mean, not any roster, but a stacked roster. Like I guess I would make this case for winning 1 week. It's more about like, are you limiting your ceiling for the season? I guess I don't know.
You probably are a little bit, where like in like the Tyreek Waddle example. I mean, it's tough because both those guys are like top 5, so maybe that's. But like the Chase Higgins example, let's say you're between Higgins and Devonta Smith. Like I'm usually probably going Devonta Smith in that point in time, where I'm hoping to get both guys with the alpha, season. And that also, like with the regular season prizes, probably increases your odds a little bit. But I don't know, with it not having to be perfect in the regular season to advance, though, I don't think like you have to be that perfect, I guess. So I'm like, okay with the correlation, but I'm not reaching for it like I am, when we start to get into the double digit rounds, or even like the middle, late single digit rounds. So like to your point, Ben, I'm not like, if I get Chase, I'm not like itching to get Higgins. In fact, usually I'm more thinking like you are, where if Higgins is the best pick there at 2-3, because the way it broke, I'm taking him, but I kind of rather, Devonta Smith fall to me.
Got it.
Yeah. I know it's not 1-for-1 with the DFS comparison though, but when we're thinking about stacks, like remember when Tyreek Hill and Kelsey were on the Chiefs, and based on salaries, it was almost impossible to premium stack those guys, the Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill. Like you were hamstringing the rest of your lineup. Say with the Eagles last year, sometimes it'd be a little bit more doable because Devonta Smith's salary would be more in the mid-range, or T. Higgins would. So that's the only thing, like, and again, I know it's not 1-for-1, but thinking about how much that hamstringed your lineup, like you would need Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill to each go for like 30 plus to pay that off.
Because the opportunity cost is all the other high-priced players on the slate, and some other high-priced player at some position on the slate might do well. And that's sort of this.
And the construction, though, the construction part's different, though. Like, so that part's still applicable a little bit to season long, where you've got the same opportunity cost with other high-priced players. But in terms of the roster building, though, it's not the same, because you don't have to shove like a bunch of 3K guys to make it work. Like you've got your 18 rounds, and you're going to have 18 rounds no matter who you take. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a 7K tight end and an 8K wide receiver, and you can barely fill out the lineup.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't get like punished for it in the same way. Like with like that example with Tyreek. I mean, Tyreek on the Chiefs, he could have these massive games. So I mean, you could easily see an example where Mahomes goes off in week 16, brings along Tyreek. Tyreek is like massive chalk in the final. And then like, if you have a dud from Tyreek, but it's leverage and Kelsey is crushing at your tight end spot, I mean, I think that would be awesome. Like you'll fill out your second round pick, some other, or your number one wide receiver spot. You're going to need someone to come through for you in a big way, but it's like not actually. I think that's an advantage, not a disadvantage.
You guys are helping me see the merits of it for sure.
Yeah. I do like, at least in like the Burrow example, or say even the Dolphins example, the fact that you are getting the quarterback a little cheaper in both of those instances makes it a little more palatable to me versus the Eagles one where you're burning those three.
The Eagles one, you got to reach a little bit, right? Like you got to reach on Hurts and two. I guess you got to hope
really Brown is what in order
Brown
to get it
going top 5. I think you're giving up a lot of projected points.
Dude, we had like some meetings in Chicago earlier this week, and we were talking about AJ Brown, and it's like people think we don't like AJ Brown, and it's like he's going so early. Like he was out targeted or targeted the same as Devonta Smith. Like I prefer AJ Brown to Devonta Smith. This is just a side tangent on AJ Brown in particular, but yeah, to your point, like he's just priced really.
I've already talked negatively about DJ Moore's price, so I have no comment on this.
I like him at price, but let me ask you guys this, because I had AJ Brown. I'm not doing the AJ Brown Devonta Smith one very often because I don't think I can get Jalen Hurts coming back at any kind of reasonable rate. Like most of the time, I'm just going to be stuck with them. But I did go for it in one draft and did not get Jalen Hurts. But then I just took naked Josh Allen in the third. And I was like, I kind of like this. Like, I feel like I have obviously you need a monster game from Allen. But now in a situation where one of those guys fails, AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, fails, like maybe like I capture through those guys or through one of those guys, like a lot of what Hurts is doing. And then Allen, I'm going to need to blow up as well. I'll stack him, but he's so easy to stack with guys later.
Yeah. I feel like it's interesting. I don't know if I would necessarily say I like that, but I think like one of these things, just like stepping back, is just like the randomness of all this is like,
right.
I don't know. Who knows?
But at least I have a heavy hitter to go against Hurts, who's having a hell of a game in week 17.
Yeah. I was wondering if it's better to have the heavy hitter also with Hurts, or to just say like I'm going to construct it differently.
Yeah.
Well, and if you approach it almost with the way that we would think about building, gauntlet teams for the NFL playoff contest, where if you said at the beginning of the contest, I want to build for a Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl, that was really hard to do based on the ADPs. If you say I want to go into a draft and I want some teams where I'm at heavy Eagles and Bills, really the only way to do that is through the top 2 Eagles wide receivers, because the Bills offer so many late stacking options in the way the Eagles don't.
Right.
So if you were to do that, at least you have Gabe, the tight ends, all that stuff. With Eagles, I mean, Goddard off the board, and it's Kenny Gainwell and the running backs. I mean, there's nothing after
There's
Goddard.
nothing left, which is kind of a way, like one thing you can say for that stack is like you've captured, I mean, Goddard, this is disrespectful to Goddard, but you've kind of captured the whole offense. And that's definitely true of the Tyreek and Waddle stack, where it's like, I have the Dolphins now. If you snipe me on Tua, like I'll survive. I've got the whole offense. If they blow up, I'm good.
Yeah. The thing that's interesting about like the Burrow and Miami examples is people will not want to take those guys unstacked, and that's why they fall. Whereas people are very willing to take Hurts and Allen unstacked. Sure. And so you're just not, you can corner the market on Eagles wide receivers early. It doesn't matter. Someone's going to
doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get Burrow. When I've done the Burrow Higgins Chase, it's like round 5 Burrow usually.
Yeah.
Like, and then that's pretty good. But
anything else, Mike, since like writing the manifesto, doing a bunch of drafts, have like putting anything into practice from the manifesto been harder than you envisioned, or things where you're seeing the board more clearly? Just curious now that you have some drafts under your belt.
I've been drafting all sorts of structures, I guess, like just kind of being all over the place, like the being flexible thing. It's the room you get in is so much variance in what you're going to do. I've got some high T drafts with like 3 running backs in the first 5 rounds. And then I've got, drafts where I haven't touched a running back until round 8. So like all over the place. I guess in general, I've been trying a little bit more to get my late round running backs. I've been trying to get more in like the early double-digit rounds. I think Pat talked about it a little bit too. Like
that's a big point of emphasis for me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think these guys just have a much better hit rate. It's easy to talk ourselves into the really late round guys, but once you start getting past the guys with like a 150 ADP, like these guys are really shaky.
Yeah.
So what are you taking late? Very late.
So
ends.
I'm usually taking tight end. I think early in the draft season, I'm like more open to the 3 quarterback or 3 tight end stuff, just because you're getting actual starters late in the draft. I know like Siegel and some of you guys, not all of you guys, are into Sam Howell and like Desmond Ritter late. So there's a lot
Hey,
of guys
guys.
you can take late.
Pat, you want to comment on Jahan Dotson coming out today and just firmly saying Sam Howell's our starter?
Did that happen? Good for John.
More or less.
Oh God, I didn't hear that, but that's fantastic. Woo!
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
I got into it with Eric Blindfor in Spike Week Discord for like 2 hours on Howell. So if you're curious for my updated Howell thoughts, pre Jahan Dotson comment, but still pretty recent, you can go.
Go
check that out.
I've been taking a lot of Purdy late.
Oh, Purdy, I'm in on. I like.
Yeah.
I feel like the I do like a team that's committed to their quarterback, and they seem pretty committed to Purdy.
Purdy is like a really good play. I was like very pro Lance a few months ago and saying like yada yada. His Purdy's elbow can't possibly be healthy in 6, 7, 8 months. But everything is saying that it is, and I didn't understand the injury. I'm not a doctor. Purdy seems like he's very clearly going to play this year, and they want him to be the guy. He's a good price.
I was looking at stuff
one of my
today.
highest owned.
I need to get more. Because I'm not like aggressive about getting him. I stack that game up a lot, but then if I get Purdy, like I won't like make sure I get Purdy basically, because I'll be like, I can get some other late round quarterback, and I still have the game, and then I don't need to be right. But I'm now changing my opinion.
I feel like you kind of do need to be right, because if you pay Debo, Kittle, Ayuk are all expensive. You pay those prices, you can't have Lance start.
Yeah,
I actually think they're all. I think they're all pretty cheap if it is Purdy.
Right,
Yeah.
they're cheap if it's Purdy, but they're too expensive if it's Lance.
They're too expensive if it's Lance, for sure. They're probably a little too expensive if it's Darnold, but they're cheap if it's Purdy.
I think they seem about right to me, but yeah, when I do get them though, I'm almost like always just like in my brain, like, okay, this is a Purdy team. Like I don't take those guys a lot, but whenever I do, what do you think, Ben, about? So I get the Howell bet in isolation. I'm worried though, if it is Howell, like that's good for the bet on Howell. I'm worried about like McLaurin, who I keep ending up with sometimes, just weird spot in the draft where you just need to take wide receiver there. Like the impact that could have, because like what if Howell sucks and he's like a rushing quarterback? I don't know. I could just see that.
He's mobile, but his first 2 years at UNC, the big thing, he didn't run really at all, and he was actually really good from a passing perspective. He was a really highly touted prospect out of high school and was a like the top quarterback in the class out of high school, right, Pat? Like he was and he was like a good thrower of the football in high school is what I'm saying. Really good his first 2 years at UNC when they had Michael Carter and Javonte, and they had De'Ami Brown. They had like NFL players. And then when those guys all left, he ran for 800 yards his junior year, which was the point that like Sean has made a ton of times. We talked about on Bananas. Like he did it both ways. He carried the team on his back, became a rushing quarterback when he had to. But the thing that I've been playing with Howell is his passing upside has to be higher than Jacoby Brissett's, who has never been good until last year, never been a starter 2 consecutive years, been on 4 different teams the last 4 seasons. Brissett played pretty good football for the Browns last year. I wanted to take a longer look at who he actually is. He's not like he's a good backup quarterback, but he's not a high ceiling player. He can maybe be competent type of player. The thing with Howell for me is he could elevate McLaurin, Dotson, those guys. That's the way I've been looking.
I actually agree with that. That's not my concern with Howell. I think he can elevate. I think he's going to take chances. I think he's going to do some fun stuff. I like McLaurin and Dotson a lot. I think that they're both really good picks. But part of the reason I like them is that I also think Jacoby Brissett's a good backup, and I don't care who starts at quarterback for the Commanders. I just want good quarterback play. So
you guys are making me feel better about McLaurin with Howell, but I still think if I'm just taking McLaurin unstacked, I'd rather Brissett be the quarterback. But
I kind of would rather have Brissett.
It's going to be a really concentrated route scenario. Like he can have
I guess maybe because it's just so easy to be like, well, he could have the Amari Cooper season. Like that's in my head. Like
the thing with how often gets talked about like how much he rushed in college, which he did rush a lot as a junior, but he took a shitload of sacks. His sack rate per pressured snap was higher than Malik Willis's in college. So that's, to me, like I'm just gonna have a hard time buying any of like the training camp stuff because I don't know if he can't execute the offense. I don't think that's gonna last. He's not gonna last very long, especially if they're not winning games and their over under is like 6.5, so they're not expected to.
Yeah, I guess, and it still goes both ways because I do think. Don't you think the most likely scenario, though, in the same way that Ritter finished the season for the Falcons last year over Mariota, is that even if Howell struggled early, or I guess it would depend how good their team was, right? Of like how would make sense of being the guy who finishes the season, right? Like what if they're not a playoff contender? What's the point of rolling Brissett out there the last 5 weeks?
Right.
Teams are just so stupid, though.
Yeah, and I've made the point again. The hot seat thing I think is another major issue with Howell, and it's a major issue because the most likely candidate to replace Ron Rivera when he most likely is fired this year is Eric Bieniemy, who has not gotten a chance. And it seems like kind of obvious that he should have gotten a chance before this, but he essentially is the young player in this scenario. He's the one who's trying to show that he is worthy of more opportunity in the future. I think he would be playing that quarterback who's executing his offense. I don't think he would be scouting whichever quarterback is going to be the long-term franchise option for the Commanders.
So, but one thing I would say, and I agree with all of that, but like I think you're making a pretty big assumption that Howell. I mean, there's scenarios where he won't be able to execute, but like he won't, and Brissett will. Like I think Brissett is a competent backup.
Well, fair enough.
Also, be bad enough that they could lose a lot of games with Brissett under center, and they'd be like, we need to bench him. Like I think one of the outcomes that's possible is Howell starts the season. I think we're all afraid that he gets benched for Brissett. I actually think that might happen, but then Brissett might then get benched again. They go back to how, like Pete was saying, they're like, actually, our offense looked a little bit more, like had more to it when Howell was playing, and they kind of go back and forth a little bit. But you get like 10 games out of Howell. I still think he's a viable pick in the 20th round if you're getting 10 games out of him. You know?
Yeah, I don't know if the case for Howell's that he gets benched, but then Jacoby's so bad he gets the job back again. No, I'm exaggerating. I know. I'm exaggerating.
You're already really hurting. That really hurts you as part of a 3-quarterback build, though. I think that's not what I want in a 3-quarterback build. I mean, Ben's saying
it as like a backstop, worst case scenario.
Right. I know. But I do think that the times that I'm most interested in Howell is when I have an elite quarterback, because then I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen with this guy, but I might not even need him. Like I might like get 2 games. Like at the price that I'm paying for these elite quarterbacks, if I get 2 games out of Howell, that might be enough to get me through. And then I'm probably riding my elite guy the entire
2 QB
playoffs.
build?
In a 2 QB build, yeah.
So I'm doing him in 3 QB builds where I'm not taking a quarterback before like pick 150.
Yeah, I don't want him as part of those because I want guys who have jobs the whole season. Like basically, those guys probably don't have that much weekly upside. So I want a guy who every week is going to have a chance to go into my lineup. If he misses like 5 games of the season because he's been briefly benched or whatever, I think that really hurts my chances of advancing. I'm already kind of behind the 8 ball in a 3-quarterback build to begin with, based on the last few years.
Yeah, that makes sense. But couldn't you try to have like 2 of those guys and one that actually has weekly? Like I think Howell has weekly upside is the thing, right? But you just have a game start ?
Yeah, Howell has weekly upside for sure. I think he does. But it's like if you don't have,
like I like pairing him with Mac Jones. It's like, okay, well I think confidently about like 17 games out of Mac Jones, and he's probably going to be what you just described as part of a 3-quarterback build where it's he's going to play every week and hopefully I get some usable games out of him. But then Howell has some more ceiling, I think, on a weekly basis.
Yeah, if you do like Pickett, Mac Jones, and Howell's the starter all year, I think you're going to be pretty happy.
Yeah. I've probably done that exact thing. Or Purdy. And I mean, Purdy, Howell, you get a lot of game started risk. I'm trying not to do 2 of those guys. Kyler is another one that has a game started risk, but I like those guys in the 3. I like those guys in the 3 QB build where one has some game starts risk, but
I want my quarterbacks to play games. I'm just like, just don't fuck this up for me. Like my thing with these quarterbacks, like you guys probably don't matter. Just don't fuck it up. Like I nailed the earlier picks. Just don't fuck this team up, guys. That's how I approach late round quarterback.
One thing I'm starting to do a little bit more is dig into the playoff schedules. And I think Brian and I are actually going to talk about this on Lulz tomorrow, but some cold water on both the Mac Jones and the Sam Howell stuff. And those are 2 guys I like, is their playoff schedules are brutal. Washington's at the Jets in week 16, cold weather game against one of the best football teams in football, and then at home versus the Niners, one of the best defenses. Mac Jones on the road in Denver in the cold in December, and then on the road in Buffalo in December or January. So like the schedule stuff is
So you're saying all my teams
guys
are dead?
No, but Gretch, I've been drafting those guys too, but I'm starting to layer that into my thought with some of these guys.
Honey,
Like,
we're going back to Oregon next week. I got to draft 30 more teams.
Yeah, so it's tough. It's tough.
GA7 says noted draft quarterbacks that play games, but I do think if you just take guys with job security, it's an actual differentiating strategy right now.
It's a good point to pound the table
Yeah,
on players that are actually playing games.
The average team total for Washington for this season is like 19.6, and then for the 3 playoff weeks, it's 17.8.
And
that sucks.
Yeah, and
that's a decent drop off. That's one of the biggest.
Yeah, on the 19.6, my thing on Howell's like, oh, well, maybe this is just a systemic miss, and Washington's way better than this because Howell's so good, but you're talking about the gap between, and that's a problem. Even if that's a miss and they're better than that, then it's still a tough schedule in the playoffs.
I mean,
hey guys,
it's hard, but
the chat, you guys want me to tell you it's going to be cold in New England on January 1st? You want me to that's shocking to you? Where do you live, Gerardo? Where do you live? Leone, is it ever like unseasonably warm in Buffalo on January 1st?
No.
Goodness.
Leone, how did you what were you looking at there for that schedule stuff?
Jack Miller just put together a spreadsheet for us. Just some of the books offer like the actual like spread and total for every single week. So he just averaged out weeks 1 for 14 and then weeks 15 to 16. So it doesn't look like there's a ton of teams where it matters a lot, but Washington's definitely not great.
Yeah, and if anyone who plays DFS knows how this stuff comes into play, but people are saying like it gets double counted too much, which definitely happens. But Leone, you could tell the people when those outdoor cold weather games, even if it's not like 60-mile-per-hour winds, like the totals come down in those environments.
There's also some risk that you're dead. I mean, there's just that it's, the totals come down, but a lot of times it's like down and it's fine. It's not what we want, but it's fine. But then there's some weeks, especially with like Cleveland, like I get worried with Cleveland's the last few years. They've had like those 1 or 2 games a year that have just been, I'm like totally direct. And then we had last year during the playoff weeks, the whole Northeast that one time where like everything, the Bills were playing Chicago and it was crazy cold. Cleveland was one of them when they played New Orleans. Like there was just a whole, as a tiebreaker, like you'd rather be in warm weather or in a dome. Like I think that's pretty obvious.
The fact that there's this much pushback to it in the chat shows me it's maybe one of the few edges remaining here that people, it's like the DFS players prioritize dome games heavily, and yet the best ball players don't want to think about it.
This is a really good example of probabilistic thinking. And we're all trying to sit here and talk about how, like, maybe it's only like 20% or less of the outcomes that it's really significant or it impacts the game. But that does shift the range of probabilities. It shifts the way we would consider the play. And then there's a lot of people that are like, 80% of the time it's fine. Like, fuck off. Why are you guys even talking about this? You know what I mean? Like, and people just struggle with probability.
It is difficult though, because in order to really do it, you probably need to lower every player in those games slightly in your rankings. Because once you take that player, I think you should still be building around them and correlating like that game's going to go off because you just took a player from the game. So you need points in that game. Yeah. So and then it's like, how much do you knock each player? Because it's going to feel like too much.
And some of it's already baked in, and like the things Michael, sorry for the official name, looking at the average Vegas total for weeks 15 through 17, like you can go through and look at those. The Chiefs have the highest 27.25 average 15 through 17. The Cardinals are at the lowest 15.17, almost 12 points lower. The market is down on Arizona. The market is high on KC, but sometimes in between there, you can find some of those that are a little interesting if people are, maybe overpricing relative to to certain situations. So I do recommend looking at that stuff, not double counting it, but it's just in Gretsch. I'm still going to draft Howell. I'm still going to draft Mac Jones, but it is just a little thing that I'm putting in my head to be a little careful with.
Yeah, it's not like you're moving guys a full round, you know.
No.
I mean, just like stacking, like these are all like weighted tiebreakers, right? Like,
Right.
Pat, you made a comment earlier when I brought up Kyler. You're not taking Kyler. Is Kyler a fish play to all three of you? He's gonna be hurt, and then like people are like, yeah, what if he comes back early? But he's not gonna run as much either, right? Like he's not a good.
so he's got a lot of variance in draft rooms, so I'm fine taking him when he really falls a lot and just taking the gamble. I sort of do what I've been doing a little bit, what Pat has done, where I'll kind of take him with an elite QB, where I'm only taking 2 quarterbacks, and then like maybe I bank a second quarterback upside late in the season, and I don't really need him early, especially if the other QB doesn't have an early bye week, if his bye week's later. But I don't know, their team total across the entire season is unbelievably low. It's insane. So
yeah,
It's unbelievably low.
Oh,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, someone said the dome bro stuff is entirely different. Why do people like the domes? Is it maybe because they're protecting them from random weather events? I mean, they're the exact same thing, dome and non-dome. What were you gonna say, Pat?
Nothing matters. Anything can happen. What's Kitchen's comment this year?
We just don't know.
We just don't know.
We
Yeah.
just don't know what the weather's gonna be like.
kind of like that.
My thing with Kyler, the reason I have trouble clicking him is one, he feels very expensive to me for like what you're getting. Like we're missing a big chunk of the season with him, and then we know the Cardinals are going to suck. We don't even know, is it Clayton Tune their week 1 starter? I mean, they could be horrendous. Like they could be worse than the Bucks, and they might want to keep it that way at the end of the season. Like I think delaying Kyler's return because they haven't like won more than 1 game, is on the table at least.
Yeah,
It's on the table. We talk about like, I don't know, these NFL organizations though, they just seem to like rarely ever actually do that. Like the guy's ready, he generally plays. I mean, it's not the smartest thing in the world.
Yeah,
and I do think it's an outcome. Like you said, like it's an outcome. I'm not saying it's not, but
it's a new GM and new coach. So if you're gonna do it, if I was
sense, it's just
if I was the new GM, I'd be like, this would be like my plan, because you get one shot at this, and if you get the number 1 pick, you're gonna be able to unload Kyler and start fresh, and then you're potentially gonna have like a long run. So I don't know. It would be very tempting for me to do that.
Leone, I'm getting sick of dealing with the chat. I feel like going on a run might just be a nice.
Well,
way
you
to
gotta.
just get
I've got it.
You had one of the all-time best super chats that you got.
I know. I do need to pull that up. This is on a more serious note. So Shane Simpson says, "Sorry to start the stream on a morbid note, but my dad passed away this January. Very sorry to hear that, Shane. And I would just really like to know, he's resting easy. So Pete, do you think you can make sure he has a happy ending for me and service him? We will definitely service your dad tonight, Shane. We are going to go for a run, and Pat and Gretch and Leone and I.
Publicly.
I will service it, but I will be running down my neighborhood going like this. Servicing your dad? I guess it feels weird to say it like that, but different strokes for different folks, Shane. And it's truly sorry to hear about your loss, buddy.
Yeah. Sorry, Shane.
So I think this is how we're going to do it, because I'm not going to be here. I think, Pat, you should maybe share your screen. Are you willing to do a little BBM draft here?
Yeah, I'll do a BBM. I have a little apology that I need to make. I already made it once on Pete's stream earlier today, but apology to Slow Draft Nation. Apologies to Pete. Apology to Sam Sherman for laughing at their ridiculous amount of slow drafts. I am now about 130 slow drafts deep, because I was like, I'm sick of multi-tabling the puppy. I'm just getting this thing done. So I cannot do a puppy because I maxed the puppy. Yeah.
You have 130 slow drafts.
I think slightly more, because I still have some Bulldogs and some Chow Chows in the mix.
They're all active.
Yeah, I've got it. I'll share my screen. You'll be able to see.
Pat, Pat, you know that when your accountant told you to play a lot of best ball this year, he meant like price point, not just like volume of drafts,
hey man,
right?
There's a pretty good prize up top. I'm like, I might as well match this shit.
Jesus.
Pete, tip from someone who's done this before once.
Yes, give me some tips.
Turn your Wi-Fi off on your phone before you head
Yep.
out because it gets all fucked up when it switches.
Yes, Wi-Fi will be off. I'm
You're
going to
already
switch to
on
my
it.
Bluetooth. Any other tips? Because I feel like last year you did a surprisingly good job. I feel like I'm going to be like Blair Witch Project, Bouncy. Do you have any like steady cam advice?
I don't. It was a blur last year, man. All I remember is getting out there.
My advice is talk to your neighbors as much as possible.
Dude,
That's the highlight.
So
I just don't understand how the people who like run like fast are drafting like their actual teams. It's like it's one thing to respond to Karain as he's managing the draft for us.
Right,
I
exactly.
just can't believe
Right.
people can like run fast and actually draft the team. It just boggles my mind.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get set up here. I'm gonna
Here's
tap
my
in
active
from
draft
outside.
people.
Scroll, Kareem. Scroll
All
on.
right, you guys can look at Pat's slow drafts as
Yeah.
Leone and I get set up here.
Jesus Christ.
This is why we're
You
entering the people.
just finished the puppy with
Yeah.
slows today.
I finished the puppies. I did about 20 puppies fast, and then I was like, I think I'm good. I think I'm because when I do a fast draft, I want to do best ball mania at this point. Like I think it's time to start ramping those up, or I'm doing some DraftKings stuff. So,
Is the puppy almost full?
yeah, the puppy's like very close to full.
Oh wow, it's really
96% full.
close.
They'll launch something after the puppy, I'm sure.
When's it gonna fill?
I mean,
If it's 96, it's gonna fill like tonight or like 2 days.
I would say it probably fills like by noon on Friday. That would be my guess.
So maybe I gotta make a drive tomorrow during the day. Clear the schedule.
Listen, you know the trick where you star everybody on the team and then star everybody on the opposite team in week 17? I'm doing that.
I don't do that. I know the trick and I don't do it.
I do it. I started doing it on these slow drafts, and it has made because it's annoying, right? In the first couple picks, you just want to fire it. It feels so fun just to pick and move on. But I'm making myself do it every time, and I think it has made a big difference. Like once you get to round 4, round 5, you're like, oh, I took Drake London, and now Justin Fields here to value, and I'm going to take naked Justin Fields. I might not have thought to do that. So
yeah,
I think
that's where you got to do it because when you're looking, I got to do a better job of that.
Where's Leone? You still don't have Leone.
Guys hear me?
Oh, these guys are saying it's gonna fill before noon tomorrow. It's gonna fill definitely by tomorrow around 8 a.m. Which I'm west.
That
Coast.
early? I mean, it is pretty big. There's 200. Oh, it is. Yeah, people are flying into it right now.
Well,
Can you guys hear me?
I got enough puppies in.
Will someone acknowledge that they can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You getting a little walk warm up in right now?
I don't know.
No, I just wanted to make sure you could fucking hear me before I start jogging. Jesus.
We said we could.
Start running.
I am fucking running. Get in the draft.
Where's Leone? I don't want to start without him.
I don't know.
We're waiting on Leone.
He's probably eating an ice cream bar and bailed on me.
That would be so savage. We just went downstairs and got ice cream. Oh man, I hope that's.
Let's get this fucking draft. I mean, let's get this going. I mean, come on.
All right, you seem to be in good shape. Let's just wait for Leone.
I'm so sick of this cardio club shit. It's just such a dumb bit.
All right,
let's do it. Leone's got to be. Yeah, Pete. We got. They're saying audio listeners gonna be pissed. Shut that mic off, pal.
you gotta mute in between.
Sounds like you're humping the speaker.
You're servicing the audio listeners a little too much there.
Someone's dad died, and you guys want me to fucking mute myself?
Yes.
We got a super chat that says to tell you to pick up the pace. So there's $5 that wants you to dance.
All right, here's Leone.
Leone's also
hear us,
getting his
Leone?
walk in.
Yo,
Wow, you're so much quieter than Pete, dude.
He's walking. He's like in his front yard right now.
oh, Pete's
Well,
running already?
Oh, he's
Pete's
sprinting.
running,
We're waiting on you.
Okay. I'm going.
There he goes.
Can you guys
Still
hear me
quieter than
okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
This
Nice.
is like the ASMR version of what Pete's doing.
I'm not even pumping with the right arm. Pete, are you there? I don't even hear you.
No, we had Pete mute himself because he was so loud when he was running. You're a lot quieter. It says Leone's a pro. The chat, big time fans of what you got going on here. Mike Leone, Silent Assassin. It's so much better. Leone quality A+.
All right, so we're on the clock. Jamar Chase went first, so we got a Justin Jefferson 102 here in Best Ball Mania.
I think we can't get AJ Brown to get unique, guys.
Wow, chat is ripping into Pete. We got Pete's gas already. Pete's an amateur. This is
Pete's gonna win today.
Chat's having a rough show tonight. First of all, they ignore that weather exists, and now I fucking run for them. I'll end this stream right now.
and this stream from the street.
I don't think you can end this. I don't think you have those
I think he still
capabilities
can.
right now.
Yeah, I think he's still
he's,
logged in.
he's gonna have to run back home before he can end the stream.
What distance are we going for, Pete?
I mapped out a 5K.
Okay, I like it.
You guys are gonna run a 5K right now?
That seems nuts to me.
We do it for the people.
Wow.
Well, guys, we're close to the turn. So, yeah, a lot of downtime in between to just watch you guys run.
Crossing the road.
How's the run? What's the weather like out there?
Dude, it's a beautiful night for running.
It really is. Just had a little rain. I know the chat doesn't really believe that rain's a thing that happens, but it did rain here earlier.
How's that affecting your cadence or steps per minute?
I think I'm probably at too fast of a pace right now. I got so pissed off at the start that I came out of the gate too hot.
Yeah, I'm running a little hot. I'm like 9-minute pace here. And I haven't been running since the marathon much, or since Ragnar.
Why are we carrying the show right now? Fucking host the show, man.
I mean, I got you off, like, listening to you guys chat
This is the best content we've had in weeks. I don't know what you're talking about.
We're supposed to jump in and cut this off?
I'm hosting the hell out of this show. I just let it breathe.
It's a little bit avalanche-y so far. We got Chris Olave at 204, Waddle at 203. We just got Chubb at 205 to the Eckler drafter. That guy is in for one. Non-badge started running back. Good luck. Ooh, and McCaffrey Taylor also. Diggs went ahead of McCaffrey.
Is it ever like really funny when there's like a non-badge or someone who clearly just doesn't realize they jumped in a ship chasing draft? They just have no idea what's going on with the wide receivers.
Yeah, and you feel.
I think that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
So
Devonta and Higgins we're one pick away, and we're all the way to no man's land at receiver. Pollard,
Tony Pollard.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, Pollard's here.
Stevenson,
Henry,
Henry, all those Jacobs. Guys. I almost
a bunch of running backs available.
Judy
went 210.
What do you guys think about Pollard?
You guys have jumped the shark. Yeah,
who's the best wide receiver there?
Click wide receiver, Pat.
Debo's the best wide receiver by my rank.
DK Metcalf is
Metcalf
ADP,
as well.
and Ridley and Debo are all there.
All right, let's go Pollard.
Yeah, I'm in on that. Will you click the wide receiver tab real quick, Pat?
Debo, DK, Calvin Ridley, Keenan, Amari Cooper, Christian Watson. Basically, we're on the wrong turn at wide receiver.
Pete's frozen. Oh,
Well,
the
the weather's
Quarterbacks
bad.
are all here, and then the running backs are here. And Mark
the
Andrews.
4-5 turn is going to be brutal for wide receiver too, because there is kind of that drop off after the mid.
I'd be fine going Debo, or we could take a non-wide receiver.
Set up our Purdy stack.
Debo Purdy stack. Pete,
Yeah,
what do
no
you
one will
think?
see that coming.
All right, we're on the clock. Brees, Henry, Jacobs, Andrews, all the quarterbacks, and Debo.
Let's let some running backs fall. They're going to fall in this room, right? And grab Debo, I think.
Let's play the room. Play the room you're in.
Play the room you're in.
All right, grabbing
Wide
Debo.
receiver boat, in case that wasn't clear.
All right.
Debo it is.
Jefferson Debo's got to be somewhat unique, right? Debo doesn't go on that side of the draft.
I think he's worthy of that pick. All right, I'm starting all the Cowboys. Starting all the Lions. Let's make it tough on the computer, actually.
How's my camera angle?
Pat, don't ever star people on a stream draft.
You're
Rookie move.
Leone. You're
No, these aren't like guys I'm hoping we get. They're so I can see them on the thing.
False
Leone Davis
bridge.
shirt.
It's a billboard.
Your angle looks fantastic. Pete is sideways and bouncing around. It's really no contest who looks better here.
I'm slowing down now. Ooh, I went out a little hot too.
I'll even start with Sam Howell for you guys.
Pete's got back to vertical. Nice, Sam Howell. Yes. Purdy Howell team. Let's do it. I don't think McLaurin's going to make it back, but he would be a nice little mini if he did, but there's just no way.
McLaurin's going to go on like 2 picks.
It has been a non-wide receiver heavy third round. It's been kind of nice. Although Brees finally goes. Derrick Henry goes 3-10. I mean, this is...
Man, A.J. Brown drafter stacks with Hurts. The Diggs drafter gets Allen.
In the third.
We're
Wow.
a friendly room.
Some nice
I got
teams in
one
this.
slow in. I think in the Chow that was Diggs, Waddle, Allen, and I'm still excited about it.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah,
That's very fun.
I love Waddle so much again this year.
I like Waddle too.
yeah, he looks great.
I like him better than Garrett. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
The
stoked
alpha
on Garrett.
upside on Garrett seems like more enticing to me, but I like Waddle a lot.
Yeah, I get that.
Why not both? Just take them both.
I did a Garrett Olave in a puppy. I had like 1,112,000, so I just did a Garrett Olave as a Ohio State stack.
Hashtag unique.
I did get a little unique in the puppy.
What's that combinatorial ownership at?
Pretty low.
A little cloudy. Up there.
There goes McLaurin. DJ Moore back in the middle of the fourth round. Drake London. All these guys are gone.
Dude, Gretch, we're starting to fall. I think if people are drafting off the ETR ranks, they're giving us a chance.
Yeah, we're all trying to find the guy who did that, Leone.
Hey, I'm not complaining. I can get some 5th round DJ Moore. Feel a little bit better about things.
So what you're saying is you willingly are sandbagging his ranking to pump your own bags?
Yeah, so I can get to my 2% DJ Moore at about.
All right, so ETN fell to us.
What
That seems like a pretty good value.
So did I.
Take ETN.
Wait,
Take
I-
him.
Fuck
I
out you.
right back on the way back around.
This is a crazy value on ETN, I think.
What are the receivers?
Ayuk and
Ayuk, Godwin, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett.
Let's go ETN and Godwin. ETN and Godwin.
I'm Team Godwin.
we already have Debo, so that's why I was saying Ayuk.
I think if
Flexible.
Ayuk gets here, he's kind of a smash.
Flexibility.
So
No,
take
let's keep betting on the bet we made.
Flexibility.
I think Ayuk makes more sense.
I think I'm with Godwin. They've convinced me. Are you saying Godwin, Leone?
I'm Godwin, but I can go either way if you want to just do
Yeah,
this.
you're outvoted 3-1, Pat.
Do you know how Chekhov's Purdy works? You talk about Purdy being a smash at the opening of the stream. You think he's really making it back to us? No. He's going to go 2 rounds too early in this draft.
Yeah, that's not really even a consideration for me.
Yeah,
I think,
we're gonna play Baker.
You bet on the 49ers, so you bet on the 49ers and
Dude,
tiebreaker
taking
situation.
Debo,
I like how
you
you
have to bet on the whole
I like how you
fucking
over
offense.
Godwin anyway. So I don't know. Yeah,
That's just
obvious
crazy
mistake, I
talk.
think.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You Ayuk slappies every fucking year. It's unbelievable.
Godwin is in a horrendous situation.
Leone's
Yeah,
getting the
horrendous situation
adrenaline.
to get
It's going.
180 targets.
You've jumped the shark on Ayuk, Pat.
I'm not even that big into Ayuk. I just think Godwin. I mean, you have to hope he's better than he was last year. He looked pretty bad in a number of metrics. I know he's coming off an ACL tear, but you're like banking on that. You're banking on like, no, he's going
When's
to
the
be
last
fine,
time
and
you
you're
tore
getting a
your
ton of
ACL
targets.
and played football a year later?
All right, yeah, because every guy who tears his ACL and looks bad looks great the next year. That always happens. And the situation.
Exactly. I'm glad
There's
you
no
said
red
it.
flags. We don't have to worry about any red flags with Godwin. It's just wheels up.
Thank you. I'm glad someone said it besides me.
Pete, you're getting hammered in the chat, dude. They're not letting you go right now.
What's the chat saying?
Are the
What are the
ghosts
chat saying?
servicing? Are the ghosts servicing tonight? Pete is in the RB dead zone. Blair Witch Pete. Pete having the worst performance of his career on cam. I mean, it's pretty good stuff.
Blair Witch Pete is a good one.
The only 5K anyone watching this has ever seen is the recent subscriber milestone the Slowcast just hit.
Oh man.
We got a note to breathe through your nose.
Dude, you come on stream and breathe through your nose. Oh,
You're fine, Leone. It's actually Pete's Android that's huffing and puffing, I believe.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's
Don't make this an operating system battle. You want to come out for my nose breathing? Come after me. Who do we end up taking?
The chat's we took Godwin. The chat's trying to buy you a new iPhone. I think they're gonna have a
Didn't Laird send him one?
whipped out by the end of the stream.
Where's the Laird iPhone?
If I don't return to $1,000 in super chats, the show is done forever.
His issues an ultimatum an hour into a stream and about a half mile into the run, I think.
Where? Well, I'm at 1.3. Where are you at?
Oh my god, you guys are burning.
I think I'm about halfway done. I just did the loop to head back to my house.
Oh baby.
Wow, God, you're cruising.
Oh yeah, maybe I'm allowed to fucking breathe hard when I'm fucking running.
Also, how are you supposed to like talk and run and breathe through your nose?
All I do is juggle mini feats for this audience. And what do? They just critique me, Leone.
Unreal. What setting do you have your lights on? Are you just stale green?
I don't know. I think
Oh no, you're
it's
going,
the
you're like me. You're cycling. That's the move.
we're cycling.
You're cycling.
Shout out Leone for sending me his glow sticks.
I should get a promo code from Tracer. Ooh, it's starting to
It'd
get
be
windy
easier
here.
if you guys were running in a dome, says Ryan in the chat.
I wish. Actually, I don't. It's beautiful out right now. I would take that back.
Yeah,
Chat-
we don't need
the
to
chat's
now.
having
It's
a
summer.
pretty solid
baby.
show. I'm not gonna lie. I'm in defense of the chat.
Oh, Ben, we're starting our pod soon, right? We didn't even
Yes.
talk about.
This weekend, right?
Yeah.
I gotta
Oh,
get
yeah.
some more projections done. I got a little sick over the last week.
Where are we gonna start? We gotta start somewhere spicy.
The only divisions I have done are the East divisions. They're not that spicy, but
With the Bears and DJ Moore.
that's the North. I
Oh, okay.
gotta get. I'd have to jump to the North, but we could start there.
Start on Sam. How old did you? Sorry, I lost you.
I was saying I could get the North done, but
No, we'll just do the East.
yeah, we'll start on the East.
All right, we're on the clock. No wide receivers left. It's out of Brandon Cooks, Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney. So we could think about that. But Kyle Pitts is here.
Oh, Kyle Pitts, smash. Fast.
Yeah, let's do it.
Wait, isn't this the what turn is this? 6,
Yeah,
7?
6'11", and Bateman is like the best receiver left. We have three
definitely go-
receivers. 702. I kind of feel like we should just take Bateman and get a fourth receiver.
I like.
I mean,
one of those
we are
other
literally
guys.
completely uncorrelated right now.
Yeah, that's
Flexibility.
fine. We'll back our way into it.
Correlation
Well,
gives us flexibility. I would suggest maybe Brandon Cooks, who's correlated with Pollard.
I like Cooks. I think better, anyways. But
Brandon
We could
Cooks is-
also go Lawrence, but I like the receiver here.
You like Cooks
Yeah.
over Bateman, Leone, you're saying?
Yeah, dome games, dude.
Dome games.
Well,
The weather.
I'm excited for the Buffalo offense, but it's a lot of.
Will you hit wide receiver real quick? Just click the tab on the screen. Yeah. Yeah, damn.
Dude, how the hell do people actually draft like this?
Kadarius Toney is the ADP value at wide receiver. He's
Correlated Cooks. I'm with Pat. Correlation.
Yeah, correlated
We need it,
Cooks.
not
We need to
flexibility.
start building something. This is just a
Cooks.
players.
Are you
All right,
guys
so we
worried
got
about
Cooks.
the Liz Frank thing with Bateman now?
the chat thinks this is the worst Avalanche of the year. It is.
I don't love it, man. Getting a
Yeah.
cortisone shot, right? And now he's going to miss time. I mean, hopefully it's nothing, but you don't like to see that.
Who's that?
Yeah, and I
Bateman?
me's missed a lot of time
Bateman.
already. And they
Yeah.
got guys they brought in. Like, I still
Yeah.
like them, but
Yeah, they have a
I know, it
deep
makes me
passing
nervous.
game. It's like it's kind of hard to like piece together, but I mean they've added a lot to their passing game this year. Between
yeah, it should be fun to see.
they
I
still
love the
have
Ravens,
Likely. Like
but-
they Likely was a hit
Right.
last year, so they have two good tight ends, and now they.
I mean,
have,
they're like deep at wide receiver. Like,
yeah.
Nelson Aguilar is not like anything at all,
Right.
but he's like a guy. If you need him as a wide receiver forward to run some routes, like he won't like
Right.
totally blow it.
He's
Devin
like better
Duvernay,
than
I
a wide
feel the
receiver
same way about.
twos last year. Like
Yeah.
he's viable as a wide receiver four. They brought
100%.
Laquan Treadwell. They brought. I mean, like I don't think these guys are good, but like they still have Duvernay.
They're
still
not
have
nobodies, yeah.
They're not nobodies. Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like the great call on the Debo pick, Pat, that kind of let us navigate this Avalanche room. Nice job.
Well, you guys were on board with that. I mean,
I thought that was you. Well, whatever. Good job, team.
yeah, good job, team.
I think that was
trying to
me.
get us on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, team.
Yeah, no problem, guys. So recap the team for the audio listeners. We're literally
For the audio
servicing
listeners.
Ghost right now.
We have Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne at running back, Justin Jefferson, Debo Samuel, what could have been Chris Godwin and Brandon Cooks, and then Kyle Pitts at tight end. So we have a little bit of a Cowboys thing going on.
Did you say what could have been Chris Godwin?
Yeah, because it could have been a 49ers double, which would have been a little bit.
You mean it could have been Brandon Ayuk?
Could have been Brandon Ayuk. Yeah.
It actually
We-
was Chris Godwin.
We can draft Danny Gray
the
for
audio.
Pat so he gets his 49ers
give me that
double.
double. I prefer Juwan Jennings, but thanks. I appreciate it.
Dude, we're going to get there. We're going to have enough. I mean, we don't need to go insane. We're going to be fine.
There's definitely some ways we can build this out.
I also
Brandon
like,
Cooks at 702 is not where I thought we would be tonight. I'll just say that.
It isn't. I mean, where were your expectations?
No, that's a good point.
Wide receivers, the position is essentially done. Rashad Bateman just went. Zay Flowers just went. Cortland Sutton just went. Like Michael Thomas is the last guy. Elijah Moore, who just went as well.
This is where I'm like, I'm okay even like a second tight end a little earlier and just assuming like it's okay if my wide receiver isn't the flex, you know?
Right.
We're playing to fill three spots. I know it's like contrary to what we usually do, but play to fill three spots and get the other value.
Yeah.
Well, you can't
Okay.
there's nothing here. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Well, yeah, the tight end isn't even like there isn't even that much value because Waller and Goddard went. We're into the Njoku group.
Well, just like hypothetically, if someone,
Yeah.
I mean, but running back, I mean, same thing. Like we could get to 4 running backs before each 4 wide receivers and still like make it work.
yeah, I feel like we should be hammering running back a little bit now. We're outside the wide receiver.
We could
window.
also
I don't
take
think
care
you
of
can-
quarterback on this turn. We could double
Yeah.
up and take care of that.
I mean, Dak, are we close to Dak or would that be too early?
We are close to Dak range. The guy in the one hole has Burrow. So if we want to take just Dak here, we could probably get him in the early 9th, I would guess.
Yeah.
There's no Cowboys on the team out of the one hole. So
What's Dak's ADP?
Cousins is at sorry?
What's Dak's ADP? 100.
100.
That's right.
So that's about the right time. And then Cousins, we could reach for by about 10 picks if we wanted. Javonte Williams, James Cook.
So Cousins is, well, maybe not in this room, but in some rooms, Cousins is easy to backdoor with, like, I don't know, 18th round Musgrave or Jaden Reed and Dobbs.
Well, we have Jefferson, so we don't. I mean, it's a.
I meant backdoor the other side with him.
Well, so we're on the clock. So we have Javonte, Prescott, Montgomery, Charbonnet.
Oh, dude, you guys are going to blame me, but D-Mont with the correlation, and I actually think he's a good pick at ADP anyways.
I kind of like it, actually. Let's do it.
I was thinking Freiermuth at this turn. It was completely uncorrelated, but would have given us that 2 tight end thing.
I don't mind.
We got to go Dak.
Are we just going Dak now? We've got.
Yeah,
I think we go Dak. Yeah.
And we can be flexible if we go. We could still do 3 QBs late or something with like Howell or Purdy. Just.
Yeah, we could still do Purdy as a single stack. That'd be fine. Oh, so he actually went quarterback, but he took Geno, fortunately. So he's got Burrow, Geno.
Have you guys seen anybody out on the road that you have passed or anything?
I passed a couple kids biking, but that's about it.
No, it's been pretty lonely out here. I'm almost done now. 5K in the books.
Man, dude, you're rolling. You're like extending the gap. You're like 2-3.
All right, grab Dak.
Pete's looking like the weekend meme from the Super Bowl a few years ago. Did you see when he freeze framed for a second? He looked just like it. Oh, no.
I think Gibbs and Montgomery are actually like both good at ADP right now. But maybe that's too reliant on the HVTs from last year.
Yeah.
No, I
think those are a little misleading, right? Like, how many times is Amon going to fall down at the one this year?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he's not scored 16 touchdowns. I feel like you can make like upside cases for both of them where like D-Mon is Jamal Williams with more pass catching, or Gibbs is DeAndre Swift with more total volume.
I'm not a big fan of Montgomery, but he fell a little bit past ADP. And
it's correlated.
Yeah. Pick 95, correlated. I can't really argue.
We've come a long way from Josh Jacobs correlated round 8 last year.
I think to Leone's point, like even if there's not as many goal line carries, there's going to be a lot of running back receptions because that's just been Jared Goff, more or less. Sure. You know, his whole career he's immobile. He's going to throw to the back. So,
I mean, the biggest problem would be that Goff just sucks and it's just bad.
Yeah,
they definitely need to score touchdowns. Like they're not going to score as many as they did last year, but the backs are both going to need to find the end zone quite a bit.
Pat, we got an important question here. They want to know if this makes us feel fat since we're not out running with them.
Lazy, I would say, for sure. Yeah. They're saying if I can do my prison gym class. The prison gym class that I last attended sometime in 2019. Yeah, right on that.
Hey, you don't have like what's your home gym situation now that you won $2 million, dude?
Yeah, I do not have a home gym situation.
Pat just pays other people to work out for him.
Yeah, it hasn't. For some reason, it doesn't work very well. Actually, my gym situation is that I play a lot of pickleball. I played pickleball today with Dalton Cates, friend of the show, of Stealing Lines. Little pickleball doubles. So activity, some cardio.
Nice.
Pete's already home. He's inside.
Dude, he must have run like a 25-minute 5K or something.
He's drinking some water. I can hear him, but I can't see him.
Nice of him to post that portrait of himself there.
There he
Pete,
is.
you got to pace yourself to finish when the draft finishes, rookie.
No, I'm getting in the sauna. I'm done.
That's a flex. God, I'm so jealous of the sauna.
That's a pretty big flex.
That's a pretty big flex.
I've just nothing to back. Pete, does this make you wish you did Ragnar?
Pete just in the song in the background. Now I know why I want to do this stream. This all makes sense now.
Do you have your headphones on, Pete? Can we hear you?
I mean, I hear somebody shuffling.
I hear
around.
him breathing.
Can you hear me?
Amazing. Yeah, we can.
We can actually hear you much better than before.
Yeah, this is great. This is ideal TV right now. You laying down in the sauna. So there's only been like a couple receivers the last like 3 rounds. Scanmore just went. Damn.
So could it come back to us where we're like, can actually take one?
Yeah, I think like Juju's still on the board. Oh, gross. But it's 20
I
picks
don't know,
past
man.
ADP almost. 15 at least right
Dude,
now.
15 picks past ADP in a room that's a wide receiver avalanche. That's like
Right.
an easy pick. Even if
I don't know.
you
Are they going to sign Hopkins? Like this ADP might not be
That's fair.
very reflective of his final
Well,
ADP at all.
I don't know.
He just
He
went.
just went.
Darnell Mooney's the next one, and he would be right around ADP, and we took Pitts, and there's that.
We also have Mingo, which is a bring back on ETN. We have Rondale Moore, which is kind of an ETR value. Khalil Herbert, Rashad Penny, Elijah Mitchell. We could go Mitchell as another 49er.
I think Penny's the clear next best running back personally.
He just went.
I feel like any wide receiver at or after ADP, we just kind of take.
Mooney,
So-
Mingo, Rondale would be your wide receivers at the top.
Mingo's the closest in as a bring back on Pitts.
He's also 12 picks ahead of ADP, though. He's not a value. I think we should go Mitchell and build out the 49ers.
Well, if we did, so can we go Mitchell receiver?
We go Mitchell quarterback, probably. We have 4 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll get Mitchell. Why do we have to
Not
go
Mitchell.
quarterback?
We don't
I don't
have
know.
to, but it's a stack with Jefferson and it's Kirk Cousins.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think okay, take Cousins.
Way past ADP.
Yeah, cool,
But the guy on the
just-
turn has 2 quarterbacks, so the bet was he wasn't going to take him.
cool. No, that makes sense. So I didn't realize it was Kirk. So, well, the room will probably snipe us, but like Dubs and Reed.
Pete's
Yeah,
phone died.
that's who we're looking for now. Yes, the guy on the turn has Burrow, Geno. He just took Rondale. And Nico. So we're back on the clock. I'm going to take Kirk. Yeah. Over 10 picks past ADP. You guys good? Oh, we lost me.
Yeah. And then we're just kind of like sucking up whatever wide receivers are there next, probably, unless there's like
Yep.
a crazy good tight end value or something.
I don't think Elijah Mitchell was the right pick. I don't know why you were hung up on him. Like we're building out the Debo bet. It's just one SF player that we have. But like Herbert was correlated to. Pete's back at his desk already.
Yeah, Herbert would have been fine too.
And I also think like Debo and Elijah Mitchell are probably like vaguely uncorrelated just because
CMC injury, baby.
Yeah. They're kind of correlated in that regard, I guess.
I mean, that's like a drawing thin, but like
Don't you?
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Khalil Herbert a lot, so I just didn't think that Mingo was that great of a pick there. Wait, like still pretty far ahead at ADP. We've got guys with both Dak and Cousins bringbacks that are kind of like in the next few rounds that we're going to be wanting to take, I think. So getting that 4th running back I liked.
Yeah, I was just kind of talking through it a little bit because I do like Mitchell. I've taken him a decent amount. I think he's a fun pick. I just don't know that I like him building through like when I've played San Fran's passing game, you know? I feel like it's a different run out for their season where Elijah Mitchell's having a good year. But I guess the CMC injury, Leone, I mean that would be a huge hit for both of them.
Yeah, maybe Herbert was the pick though. I mean, I like Herbert too.
Michael, are you calculating our buckets allocated to various positions while running here?
Yeah, it's all up here. Our wide receiver bucket sucks.
Yeah, I see that.
Pete, the chat want to know if you would read our team for the audio listeners now that you're done.
I will until Michael Zimmerman puts some respect on my blazing 5K time right there while streaming. So,
Dude,
suck
where did you
it, Michael.
finish at?
I don't know. We'll have to look back on it. I think it was probably around 24, 25, I would think. I don't know.
Nice.
Not that
I
fast.
I just finished 29-39.
What so who did we set? So we're done at quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done at
Yeah.
quarterback. If we had like a super late Purdy fall to us, I think that would be semi-interesting. But other than that, I think we're done.
Man, Rondell Moore was. Oh, he was there. He was there instead of Elijah Mitchell. I almost feel like we should have just taken Rondell to get a.
We could,
Yeah,
we
maybe.
could have done that too.
What are we gonna be in, like Jaden Reed, Marvin Mims territory here?
We only have like 4 receivers. No, what do we have?
4, which is
Yeah.
not ideal, but like I don't know, like you can't decide that receivers are going to be there. Rondell Moore would have made some sense though.
Yeah, we could have gone wrong. I mean, we'll see what we get, but like, I mean, we can play to just fill the 3 wide receiver spots, though. I mean, you sort of have to in these rooms a little bit.
Yeah.
Like a few of these super wide receiver heavy teams are just going to be worse versions of all the other teams.
Right.
Gallup's gone. I mean, will we double up Kirk with Osborne?
Oh, Gallup would have made sense too.
Yeah, Gallup would have made sense. That probably would have been the pick. I mean, yeah, Osborne's fine, or we could just single it and get some Green Bay dudes. I mean, I guess Dubs is probably gone. His UD ADP is pretty high.
Yeah, he just went.
Yeah. Yeah, Gallup.
What do we?
ADP?
Will you click on
128.
wide receiver real quick? It's
Yep.
like-
What if
to-
you just
yeah.
clicked over and there was literally nothing there?
I wouldn't be shocked.
I gotta ask.
Genuinely would not be shocked.
So
It's
yeah, I
just-
mean, Mims
sometimes,
and Taekwon are guys you could just reach 20 picks for, but
but also like sometimes when I know we're gonna take a bunch in a row, I just like honestly go ADP order and just like hope for the best. But
Yeah.
well,
So
I mean,
Adam Thielen.
not feeling, but
you sure you're not advocating for Adam Thielen, Leone?
There goes Mims. I think we need to take guys we like because the room's
The
not
chat
gonna
is
be
sitting over there. It's like the Bart Simpson meme. They're all looking around like, Leone, advocate for Adam Thielen, please.
yeah, I think I mean, in hindsight, I like these running backs a lot better than the receivers. We probably should have gone Gallup or Rondell, but it's tough on the fly
should have,
with
for
4
sure.
people yelling.
Yeah, we were really low on the clock. That was tough.
I kind of like Jaden Reed here, who's a bit of a reach, but is a bring back.
I would.
Yeah,
I think Reed
you
makes
read.
sense.
You read, yeah.
What about, I mean, Reed and Chark? Isn't Chark coming back on something for us?
Chark's coming back on ETN.
Osborne's
I'm a-
not going to come back if we don't take him with this next pick.
Where's
Well, neither
oh,
will Taekwon Thornton, who's
Yeah,
actually
just take-
the best
take-
receiver.
yeah, just take
Yeah.
Osborne.
Like
I'm good with Taekwon too.
Taekwon's like lighting up camp and is like actually might be. He's the kind of guy that might be a 9th round pick in a couple. You know.
I like Chark or Osborne, but
Okay.
Let's
Chark
go
just-
Osborne, who's a double on Kirk. I think that's
yeah, I mean, to get the
Structure
double
that
at ADP is kind
I
of
don't
like,
think Okay.
I think
I don't
they
understand
probably,
his ADP at all with Addison there and Hawkinson being as big of a target.
I don't like it
was.
either. I mean,
He's
you
a
can see where he's on my
clear
rank.
four.
He's
I
very
think-
far down.
contingent play. It's either Addison is hurt or
Yeah,
Yeah.
for some reason not good.
but he
I
wasn't
just
even.
think having Kirk doubled
when
is very
Addison
good.
wasn't on the team after Hawkinson came on last year. He did nothing. The second
Well, he had that
he had
massive
that
game against
monster
the Colts.
week. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
not
forgot
taking
about
he went
that. I
nuts. He
didn't
dropped like wasn't that like a 35-point game or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went nuts that one week.
know. Oh, I
It was in a
remember
dome too, for the record.
all that. 10 for 157 and a TD. All right, I guess I forgot that even happened.
He also went to the University of Buffalo. So he's got that going for him, which is
All right,
he had
we
100
did good here. We got some good correlation on this team after all.
That's like,
told you it was going to happen, Pat.
yeah,
All right.
you've been really concerned about correlation the entire time.
Yeah, Mr.
I was
Flexibility over there.
One of my
care about
big
getting
takeaways from
sniped.
the manifesto was that you can kind of over correlate your teams. Like there were some spots where you can get to where you have like too much stacking with your quarterbacks, where it starts to.
You can, but if you build it in the whole way through, then to me that's the flexibility. Is that I go, oh, I hit a dead end with this correlation, but it gave me another opportunity that I could have built through,
I
and I
feel
didn't
like-
build through it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
your reasoning
like
is
to
the
just do
opposite
it.
of what you were saying, though. Like, if you're okay hitting the dead end, you don't need to like force it early.
Right.
Well, yeah, but if I don't build it in throughout, then I can end up in a situation where I am forcing it late because I'm like, I don't have any correlation, so now I'm doing like a fucking Stroud bring back bullshit.
I have
thing.
run into that with some of my slows when I wasn't doing it enough
Yes.
early because I didn't want to be. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to be more like specific on the players I was picking. I don't have any exposures even like started, you know. So I'm just like, these are the guys I like. I'm gonna take them. And then I was like, I want to build in correlation after that. But I've run into that. I know what you're talking about. You can run into spots where you're like, I don't have correlate. Like the only way I can
none.
yeah, I have to
You're
like,
not like
reach
you're not
20
like
picks.
dead if that happens. I mean, I'm being a little contrarian here, but it's not like you're stone dead. You know, it's just not ideal.
It's just really easy to avoid if you break a couple ties to just make sure you have some. To make sure you have a couple paths. Like give yourself a couple different routes because the way that generally happens is you kind of put your eggs in one stack's basket and then someone comes in and blows it up and now you're like, I don't really have another option for this team. It was supposed to be this thing and now it's not that thing and it's just kind of a weak team.
But we middled it. I think we middled it fine. Like
no, this is a good team. I like the way this is built.
Yeah.
Did anybody in the chat go for a run because of these guys? I see Jarrett Mullen saying inspired me first run in a year. Is he saying he went out and ran while we were streaming?
He must
That's
have.
pretty sweet.
Congrats, Jarrett.
Yeah, I love that.
This is probably looking like a 3 tight end build for us, just knowing where the available talent is.
Yeah.
Well, Porta's already gone, so he just went, yeah. Man, Rapier's stealing all our guys.
Pat, now doing this exercise. Is this the first BBM4 draft you have streamed on your account?
This is the first one I've streamed. I'm also doing it off my rankings in solidarity.
Now, doing this exercise yourself, Pat, do you think it would be possible to win Best Ball Mania streaming all of your drafts in Piss Boy Rubes?
I don't think I would win Best Ball Mania. I'll say that. I don't think I would win Best Ball Mania for doing this 149 more times.
Don't worry, I don't think I am either.
It's going to give you some like pretty fun, unique builds though that are probably not.
It is.
Yeah.
As bad as they feel.
They're fun. They're unique.
We're having so much fun.
I did show you guys in the chat today my first 4 tight end team, not on my own will, but via secret mission on the Swolecast today. I actually didn't even hate how it turned it out. You guys have just gotten me, but I will say I am not doing the 5 tight end. Dan Zach will not win. 4 is my max.
I'm with you. I don't get the 5.
4 is my max too.
I don't understand the logic behind it at all. Like 4 is already hard enough because you're only starting 2, but I get it because the capital is so low. But
Dan's doing the thing that
we're on the clock here in a second.
Oh yeah, let's see.
Any receivers that you guys are interested in at all here?
I like Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Okay,
that seems fine.
Deontay Foreman is correlated.
It'd be done at running. I kind of like the.
I think we can go.
Pits?
I think we take a running back. He's got 7 receivers here and 3 running backs. So he's probably taking a running back. So I think we decide between Foreman and Hubbard here.
I like Foreman better, for sure. I don't even think it's close.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
Dude,
that's
Hubbard's
a hot
bat. Hubbard's.
I mean, the simple case, Mike, is that Hubbard's in a 2-man backfield and Foreman's in a 3-man.
Yeah, 3-man that's going to run the ball like it's 1952.
Yeah.
The Panthers ran a shit ton last year too.
Well, they got a new coach and everything. I mean,
I like them both, but I don't know. I guess I'm just pushing back on saying it's not even close.
I just feel like Hubbard's a handcuff play and Foreman isn't.
Who are the other wide receivers?
Hodgins, Renfro, Slayton, Downs, Woods, Hard. I mean, we're just scratch offs at that point.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely DPJ. Right? No? I mean,
yeah, I think it's DPJ.
Yeah, let's go with it. ADP says by a lot. I don't really like DPJ, but I would take him there.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully if Watson's good, he makes some big plays. And I don't know if Elijah's going to get him off the field.
Well, then they're talking about doing a lot of like spread stuff, like 5 wide stuff. He would be a big part of that with his speed. I think he's got the thing we was talking about, like he's got a specific skill set, the speed. I mean, last year they were kind of keeping him underneath a little bit too much, I feel like. And now that Elijah's there, I think he can just get back to being more of a vertical weapon. It might actually be good for him. I could see him being okay. If Watson hits.
So we could go 2 tight ends here with Pitts, and then we could add a running back and a receiver and do.
I don't think we need to get to 6 running backs in this build.
We don't
Pollard,
need
Etienne, Montgomery, Mitchell, Foreman seems rock solid to me.
It's more about what has a better chance of hitting our flex, the running back.
Probably the tight end 3.
Probably, yeah.
I think Ferguson's a priority.
He went, didn't he?
No.
Do you guys like Ferguson
at him
more
in
than
the queue.
No, he's in the
Musgrave?
queue. Yeah.
Oh.
You like
Don't
him
you
more
want
than
the
I do.
double with Dak?
I mean, probably. I was just thinking, I didn't know if we had a bring back on Minnesota, and we already kind of got a double and a bring back on Dak. But I mean, yeah, Ferguson's probably better.
I feel better about Ferguson's lead on Schumacher than I do about Musgrave's lead on Kraft.
Yeah, Musgrave's more of a gamble than,
Yeah.
but I think he has more upside.
I guess I will say my exception to a 6 running back would be Chandler with the Kirk stuff. That I guess I'm not opposed to that.
I mean, Juwan Johnson looks great if he comes back.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin mini.
I knew you'd come around on Godwin.
I've come around on. I mean, if we had Taysom, I'd be pounding. Taysom.
That's when I started really breathing heavily, when Pat was throwing shade on Chris Godwin out on that run.
Your phone was acting up.
Yeah. I had thrown it on the ground.
Matt asked if you heard us say that we're going to start a projection series, Leone. Yes, Matt, you did hear that.
Can't wait.
In the next week, I think they'll probably be on the feed already. We're going to start recording here in the next few days.
Dude, that's crazy because that's one of those. There's a few things, in fantasy that make you feel like the new year's starting, like the MFL 10 of death. Your guys' projection series is another one of those. Scott Fishbowl. It's like, all
we're
right,
doing it like at
season's
least
here.
a month earlier this year. It feels like
The people demand it though. They need it.
Yeah,
We are doing it a little earlier,
maybe
but
not a month earlier.
good.
Yeah.
but probably like 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
This seems like a good time to mention too. Gretchen and I are going to have a fun night tomorrow night, back-to-back randomizer and best ball after dark over on my YouTube channel. How you feeling about some of those prompts that started rolling in today, Gretch?
I feel great. The chat was asking for drinks. I had to go sober tonight so I could save up for the doubleheader tomorrow. It's Pete's birthday tomorrow too, right? Wait, no, it's not your birthday. Is it your birthday tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is.
Wow.
The Modelos will be flying with Gretch. We're going to have a fun night.
Happy birthday, dude.
I saw it. Yeah,
Thank you.
dude. I mean, I don't tweet a lot these days, so my mentions like I saw a few of the prompts. One was to drink a beer out of the Husky helmet.
That was one of my favorite ones I saw.
That's gonna be all over my fucking. That's gonna be everywhere.
Gretch. I mean, the people. You know how it works. The chat says something, and you just have to do whatever they say.
You have to. I mean, that's how I roll.
Uh,
We're gonna have to find a creative way to do that one.
Yeah, I think Gretch. I mean, you might end up having to host Best Ball After Dark because I'm doing some margs for my birthday with Lauren, and then we're gonna get the Modelos flowing during randomizer. We might just be blacked out by the end of it.
Let's do it.
So we could do a 3 quarterback build with Purdy. Oh no, he just went. We could do Ty Chandler here. I don't really see much else.
I wouldn't mind prioritizing Ferguson.
Ferguson, yeah, the guy behind
He has
us
one. He has one tight end, so I'm fine doing that.
Yeah.
Does
You
he
might
have any
take Ty, but
Detroit?
that's
You
not-
guys really think this dude's taking Ferguson?
Yeah. No. All right. Take Ty then.
What are the tight ends?
I mean, Michael Mayer's here, Isaiah Likely. It would be kind of weird if he took Ferguson, I think.
It would be weird.
It's fine.
Hunter Henry. There's a lot of guys.
Yeah, Mayer
Mayer.
goes. He had Hawk too, so
This morning, though, Pat and I were sitting on the stack, and Casey sniped us from Jalen Hurts just purely to spite us. So you can never put anything past these guys.
That's fair. I forget you guys have the stream experience badge that I don't have.
Ooh,
went
we
double
doubled
tight
our
end, but
tight
left
end.
us
That
Ferguson.
was dodging bullets there.
Never a doubt.
Oh,
Never a
but
doubt.
All right.
So we're kind of like free rolling this very last. What's our team? We have 3 tight ends now, or
We have 2 tight ends, Kyle Pitts and Ferguson.
okay? So we're kind of free rolling this last pick, right? It's basically just best player available.
Best player available. Probably break ties to wide receiver, I would say, since we had
that makes sense.
long stretch before wide receiver 5.
Would you say this room compared to normal rooms, we just go to the tight end tab? I feel like normally, like this is fairly wiped out compared to what you'll normally have available at tight end.
Gesicki's a really good pick here.
Gesicki, yeah. And Henry, I would take both those guys.
Gretch, have you ended up doing any? I know you're not super far along in your slow drafts, but have you done some of your Gesicki Henry pairings?
I've been grabbing a couple of them. I'm not sure if I have gotten the triple, the double yet. All 3. I'm so Pat. Instead of the starring thing, what I'm doing on these drafts is I'm renaming them fairly frequently.
You're renaming the draft as they're going.
Like
that's really
pick.
Oh, that's smart, dude.
Yeah.
I should do that
I
too.
was
There's
gonna say,
no way I can do it.
That's awesome. I was going to say that's psychotic, but that's exactly what I would do if I was only in slow drafts and couldn't enter more. I'd just be constantly perfecting my naming conventions.
Well, I mean, I change it. It's like, I don't want to. It happened organically because I kept forgetting, and then I'd be like, "Oh, that's this team." It's like I got 30 teams going,
So Musgrave's probably somewhat on the table, right? Or no?
But I said that because the one draft I'm on the clock in is New England backstack ? And I've already gotten Mac and Gesicki on that one. I might grab a Henry.
Dude, Gretch, that's actually genius. Using it as a way to quickly jog your memory for if you were in a ton of slow drafts. I love that. That's smart.
So we just lost Musgrave. Is Marvin Jones too gross as a bring back?
Yes. I don't care. Only that's a Leone. Leone convinced me on Marvin Jones for the championship of the Fantasy Football World Series a couple years ago, and we won because of it.
I don't think I have any Marvin Jones, but
so if you're out on
if Leone doesn't have any Marvin Jones, we got to take him off our board.
Does it?
It's a rough scene for me.
I mean, I don't think it's like the worst thing here, just because all these receivers kind of suck. So just take the correlated one.
It is a pretty weird bring back though, given that he's like a placeholder for Jameson Williams. Like it's not like he's not playing week 17.
I mean, we can just go,
do we have any correlations that make?
We could do Kate Otten as a double up on the Tampa Bay. Did
we end up getting any Detroit bring back?
Yeah, we got Montgomery.
So
we have that bring back. Yeah.
Cordell Patterson just went. That was my pick.
Man.
Anything jump out? I mean,
you could just double tap the Cleveland wide receivers, take Tillman with DPJ.
I don't mind that.
Play it.
Just try to hit a single at receiver.
Yeah, I think that actually that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I think stuff like that's underrated when it's such a late pick. Too.
And if you had like an injury to Amari or Elijah Moore, couldn't Tillman and DPJ both be out there in 3 wide receiver sets?
Or if they do a lot of the 5 wide stuff I was just talking about, and it becomes like an interesting pass heavy, high PROE team, like it would be good for usable spike weeks for random guys.
If Watson is good and they don't sign someone, like one of those guys has to be like pretty good a decent amount of the weeks, unless
the reporters don't think David Bell's making the team. So
fucking David Bell. Jesus, why'd you have to bring that up?
Oh, he's the manager of the Reds right now. This is David Bell.
We should do a highlight reel of him managing the Reds. That's our best highlight reel.
My favorite highlight reel.
Probably the last time we're gonna be able to play that clip. one more time.
When he gets cut,
We'll play
you
it,
better
yeah.
believe we're playing it. All right, Cedric Tillman for the single.
Yeah. Shout out Kevin Tompkins for that clip, by the way.
Yeah, incredible work. All right, we got the team. It's in the books.
Surviving Avalanche rooms.
Wow.
Can I name it
I feel
now?
like a lot happened during this draft. What are you going to name this one, Pat? Have you been naming your Best Ball Mania drafts?
I have been naming them now.
How rich. Some of us have to have a little prayer when we finish a draft.
That's so funny.
It would be funny though if you're like, but I name every one of my puppy slow drafts.
Yeah, that would be fucking so sick.
That's like serious. If anyone out there named all 150 of your puppy drafts, and I know there's a few of you out there, I would sleep with one eye open next to you.
Let's see. This should be done now, right?
Wow.
There we go.
No names.
Wow. I can't believe we're going to win so much money.
Wow.
Oh.
Ben Gretcher Racer.
What the fuck?
You didn't run and I didn't run. It's named after them, buddy.
5K.
Yeah, so
That's how much Pat's
5K run.
each of us.
5K run. 5K.
I thought he was like, this is who I drafted it with. I didn't really read the 5K. I was like, what? Did I just show up for no reason?
Pete, we get an extra 5% share, right?
Yeah.
You feel better?
Sad.
Feeling great. I did a 5-mile bike ride earlier.
Ooh,
nice.
Haven't been feeling great, but I got a short 20-minute bike ride in.
All right. Pete, you want to service the audio listeners here?
Sure. So Leone and I went out for a run, and this one does go out to Shane Simpson's dad. I know he would love to have watched this stream, but we are going to service him here tonight as one of the many audio listeners who listen to Ship Chasing Shows. Shout out to Shane. Shout out to Shane's dad. We love you. And for this team, I'm sorry, we tried to navigate a wide receiver avalanche, bad connections, 5Ks, all of that. Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins at quarterback. At running back, Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne, major value hound there. David Montgomery, that pick happened when my connection cut out. I don't know if I would have signed off on that one. Elijah Mitchell at running back, along with Deontay Foreman, who Leone thinks is apparently the best running back in the league, and Ty Chandler to round out our Kirk Cousins bet here. Justin Jefferson, alpha play pick at number 2. Deebo Samuel, the controversial Chris Godwin, who Pat is going to lay awake at night wishing was Brandon Ayuk. But we did then get a fellow Brandon a few picks later with Brandon Cooks. Jaden Reed because Romeo Dobbs was gone. KJ Osborne because Addison was gone. Donovan Peoples-Jones because literally every other wide receiver was gone. And Cedric Tillman because you try to hit a single with the Browns wide receiver 3 and wide receiver 4. At tight end, Kyle fucking alpha play Pitts. This cohort has had a lot of success with Kyle Pitts on their team before. And of course, the final pick, Jake Ferguson, stacked up with Dak Prescott.
There we go.
Pete, I think when he was talking about servicing his dad, now a ghost, he was looking for a little bit more of a physical servicing.
I know. It just feels so weird to say, hey, for Shane's deceased dad, let me jerk off your ghost stick. Like, there's just no way for that to make any bit of sense. But
I'll be honest.
I mean, it worked. It worked for me.
I'm just confused by the whole situation.
I am too. I'm trying to act in good faith here, Leone. If that means doing that, I'll do it.
You're a good person.
The man paid $20 on the super chat. He needed a jerk off motion. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I like this. Tyler says, please rename to Paris Pat watches Pores Run. Oh my goodness. Leone, I think this is firmly a once a year thing.
Oh
once
yeah,
a year
this is
only.
a tradition. I love this tradition.
I bet you do. Were you sipping wine this time?
No.
What about next year? Are we going to do the beer mile?
Ooh, that would be fun.
Rich, you and I might need to do some kind of drinking challenge next year.
Yeah, well,
I was gonna say last year was just Leone. Pete added. One of us might have to run with them next year.
Yeah,
we keep adding people.
Dude, Leone, what if there was some kind of element with either the
That's
beer mile
I like the drinking thing.
or a 400-meter, like where we pick, so you have to like run a certain amount between picks. It's like you, and so then like you're sprinting to get back to be able to make sure you don't time out, kind of thing. Something like that could be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, wait, you could have a team, right? It could be a relay
workout.
race.
Yes.
That's actually a good idea, dude. We could do like a relay race thing because then it's a 30-second clock. So you time it out so that you have you should be arriving every 30 seconds. A new person should arrive, have time to review, and then run again.
Yeah, that would have to be a 200-meter if we're going to work off a 30-second clock. But that would be a good clip.
Dude,
for 30-second
clock, we still wouldn't make it 200 meters. Are you serious? We'd be fucking dead.
No, you'd have
it's a sprint.
You'd have a minute and 20 seconds. There's 4 of us running.
Oh, all 4 of us. I see what you're saying.
All 4 of us, and then we get so ideally it's like spaced out, but then it eventually would clump, and someone just like, dude, you're up in 30 seconds, like fucking sprint, and you'd have to go.
What if the phone that you were drafting on was the baton, and then you had to like pass it to the next guy, and then whoever was up had to make
you do it while you're running?
Yeah.
This is even better. I love
relay race, and then we get to do like ship chasing. We'll do like versus the ETR crew. You know, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. You could do it. Okay. You could even do it as a 3-man draft and do it as a 3. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. All right. We'll workshop this next year. The evolution of cardio club. Oh, all right. We land in this plane.
Yeah.
All right. What else you guys got going on? We got projections coming from Gretchen Leone soon. Gretchen and I partying tomorrow. Randomizer, best ball after dark. If you're a YouTube member, you'll have access to those. Crane, what do you got going over on in your neck of the woods?
I just did a big rankings refresh this evening in preparation of this stream. I was drafting off the ranks, so you guys got a sense of those. And the DraftKings ranks, Underdog ranks, Dynasty ranks, all over at Legendary Upside. Had a couple articles out last week on late round strategy and on quarterback tactics in drafts right now. It'd be a little bit of it's a little tight to see if I'll get the article that I'm working on done in time for this week, but definitely something by next week if not.
Yeah, too many puppies for an article.
A little too many puppies. Too many puppies at pickleball this week. But hey, it's June in New York, you know.
Leone, anything else coming out from you guys?
No, but I'm going to be in New York in 2 weeks, Pat.
Nice.
I'm staying with Dink, coming with the fam, but we should meet up one night.
I swear to God, if I see
I'm out of town the first week of July.
Pickleball, no more pickleball photos with Pat out there. I canceled ADP chasing after seeing that with Sam and Pat.
The last week of June, so I think it's like it's the Tuesday through Thursday, like the last week of June, like 26th to the 28th or something, or 27th to 29th, something like that.
We shall hang.
There you go. All right. You guys, as always, ADP chasing. Are you guys doing a show Monday, Pat?
We are doing a show Monday on ADP chasing. Yep.
Make sure you guys are tuning in for that. Those shows have been awesome. Hosted by Sam Sherman, Davis on that. Gretchen swung by, Pat on there. Really good stuff. Required listening if you are drafting regularly on Underdog. Highly, highly recommend it. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight for our shit show of a draft. Shout out to Mike Leone, the original night run pioneer. For Gretch, for Pat, this is Ship Chasing. Please don't cut David Bell. We need that clip to stay in the hopper. Do you see all those fucking idiots in the chat tonight? Oh shit, we're